In this video, we're going to look at the idea of specific heat capacity. A lot of people get confused by this, but it's a really easy idea. So let me give you an example, and then we'll talk about this term specifically. So here I have two containers. This is a small one, this is a large one. We might say this is small or large, small volume, large volume, or we might say this has a small capacity and a large capacity. Capacity is how much you can hold. So this one here, right, has a very small capacity. I've put two balls in and it's full already. This large one has got a really high capacity. It can hold absolutely loads of these balls before it is full. All right. So in terms of energy, what does that mean? Well, specific means, you know, for a certain thing. So basically every single material, this means what material are you talking about? Heat is how much energy in joules, and capacity is how much you can hold. So what happens when you heat something up? Its temperature goes up. So specific heat capacity is to do with how much energy something can hold before its temperature goes up. So we can give an actual definition for this. Energy needed to raise the temperature of 1 kilogram of something by 1 degree Celsius. So in my example here, if each one of these is 1 joule of energy, this can only hold 2 joules of energy before its temperature increases. This one here can hold 1, 2, 3, 4, a lot of joules of energy before its temperature increases. We might see it in this form, or we might see it as an equation. So let's have a look at this. Specific heat capacity is the energy per kilogram per degree Celsius, the energy needed to raise 1 kilogram of something by 1 degree Celsius. Let's look at an example. For water, water has a heat capacity of 4,200 joules per kilogram per degree Celsius, which means for water you need 4,200 joules to make 1 kilogram increase its temperature by 1 degree Celsius. So this big one here might be water, an absolutely huge heat capacity to make its temperature increase. Other materials have smaller heat capacities. For example, copper is around 600 or 700, something like that, joules per kilogram per degree Celsius. It needs a lot less energy to increase its temperature. So this one here might represent copper. It needs a very small amount of energy to raise its temperature by 1 degree Celsius.